Speaker. Here he is.
I call Derek Ball.
Come on. Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to rise on behalf of New Zealand First to speak on the Social Security stopping benefit payments for offenders who repeatedly fail to comply with Community Sentences Amendment Bill. Just want to make it quite clear, sir, that New Zealand First will not be supporting this bill through this first reading. And there are a couple of very important reasons why we're not. First of all, before I get into those reasons, I'd like to make it clear that this is not a social security matter. This is a corrections matter, and it should not be being brought to the Social Services Select Committee. The fact that every single national member that has spoken on this bill has spent 99% of their time talking about corrections matters, talking about community-based sentences, community detention, or the compliance, and the only words they mention about Social Security is when they take the benefit off them. That's the only time that they speak about social services. This is not a social services matter, it's a crime matter. But once again, sir, this is a reactive policy from the government, and basically it's an admission of failure. It's reacting to their failed law and order policies, and they have to come up with this type of legislation to fill the gap. Reacting, once again, sir. And the fact is they are reacting to the consequences of their failed policies, and the consequences of their failed policies are the consequences of those offenders. And those offenders are repeatedly breaking their community sentences. That's the purpose of this bill, sir. The second reason why New Zealand First will be opposing this bill is because the government is using the basic safety net that is provided as a tool for punishment. So there is a minimum social floor that the government and the state provides for our citizens, and the government decided to use that as a punishment. That is the second reason why New Zealand First is not going to be supporting this bill. But here's a question for Mr. Mitchell. What happens to those people who are on community-based sentences who fail to comply but are not on a benefit? How many warnings do you give them?
What was the answer?
1, 2, 3 warnings. 3 warnings. And so if you've got such great interventions and processes in play that stop these people who are on community sentences from reoffending in the first place that are not on benefits, why do you have to extend and make an extra one for people who are on a benefit? Answer that question. Answer that question. The fact is, sir, is that, like I said, it's an admission of failure by this government, this legislation. Community sentences, sir, is a privilege for those who are given community sentences instead of a jail term. And the fact is, if they abuse that privilege, they should go to jail. They should be prosecuted. That is plain and simple. Not given 1 warning, not given 2 warnings, not given 3 warnings. And this government wants to stand up and say that they are tough on crime. But they're giving 1 written warning. 14 days later, they give another 2nd warning. And then only the 3rd time do they strike. This government is soft on crime, just like the National Party is soft on crime, just like the Labour Party is soft on crime. The fact is, sir, is that crime has been increasing in New Zealand, and the reoffending rate has been increasing, and this government has increased the number of offenders that have been given community-based sentences. Ever since 2008, this government has increased the number of sentences that have been community-based. But I would just like to look very quickly at the explanatory note, sir, because it highlights quite a number of the flaws in the bill itself, and the actual reason why. It says that it's talking about burdening the court system, or without burdening the court system. So there wants to be some other steps in play without burdening the court system, without prosecuting and burdening the court system. That's the real reason. That's the real reason why this legislation is here, to stop the court system being full, even more full than what it is at the moment, because of the failing law and order policies of this government. The priority is not justice. It's not about accountability. It's about keeping them out of the court system. And I would just, one last thing, sir. It says here that they'll be kind enough not to take more than 50% of the gross benefit for anyone with a child. I would like to know, how do they expect an individual or a family to live when they've got a benefit and they've got half of that taken away? I want any national member backbench or Mark Mitchell, the author of this bill, to stand up and say how would that individual survive on half of the benefit? This bill is not. This bill will not be supported by New Zealand First, sir. Thank you.